Michelle Begue is outside the Hotel Havana Libre in central Havana. Michelle, how will this announcement affect Cubans?
Mike, I've been speaking to Cubans here today and yesterday, and what I've gotten the sense from many Cubans that I spoke to, even if they didn't want to speak on camera, and even if sometimes they expressed that they weren't in agreement with their own Cuban government policies, they all said that they did not see how Trump's rollback was going to help them in a positive way, in any way. They all either said they didn't understand or they didn't agree with this decision to roll back on Obama's policies. We went out on the streets to talk to many of these Cubans who would speak on camera, and this is what they had to say initially on Trump's decision.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday he hopes his revised approach to Cuba will empower Cubans on the island. For those who live here, they had another view about the changes that will restrict travel and spending.
I
think it's unfair. Trump is still a leader who doesn't know what he is going to do. He went against the climate change policies and now the Cuba policy put in place by Obama. The world is going to go against this within hours.
Tanto de Estados Unidos como Cuba, el mundo sigue estando en su contra, o sea, creo que eso va a ser solamente cuestión de horas.
These measures try to strangle Cuban society, but we will persevere and continue forward.
Nosotros venceremos, seguiremos adelante, resistiremos.
By prohibiting Americans from using hotels and services that are run by the Cuban military, the Trump administration says it hopes to promote the Cuban people's independence. But many wonder if tighter restrictions on visits to Cuba will deter U.S. tourists who find potential audits and rules daunting.
Of course, this is going to affect the Cuban economy because visitors represent a hard currency income for our economy.
But President Trump will keep some of the previous administration's policies, such as the reopened U.S. Embassy in Havana. Remittances from Cubans living in the United States will still be allowed, and Cuban Americans will continue to be able to visit their family members. Welcome news on the streets of Havana.
If he's not going to touch the family exchange, I think it's great. We need to continue communication. You can't limit family relations.
Mike, the biggest question or concern for Cubans right now is how this is going to affect tourism visits from the U.S. and how that's going to impact their economy that has been slowly growing, especially in the small business sector.
So, Michelle, when might we expect some sort of response from the Cuban government?
We don't know if anything will happen this weekend, but we do know that Bruno Rodriguez, the foreign minister of Cuba, is on a tour through Europe, and he is going to be giving a press conference already scheduled in Austria on Monday. So maybe we will hear something then.
All right, Michelle Begue live for us in Havana.